Welcome back to Dominion's Abridged, where previously we made something that you could describe as progress. We captured a couple of thrones of Ascension, but not really, and just generally advanced on all fronts, fighting all over the place, with our special strategy of running from any real fights that might emerge, which is going quite well so far. Here we'll start things off with a battle on our front line with yellow, which is where most of my stuff is, or where my biggest concentration is, I should say, not most of my stuff. Here a massive pile of sea trolls is doing the work against gorillas or something, I don't know what we're fighting here. Looks like half of my troops are retreating all the time, but we're somehow hanging on. A few squads have more morale, I suppose. And then the enemy retreat, and we win this little battle right here, somewhere on the front line. There were millions of such battles, there were even 2 or 3 of those in this very turn that I'm not going to bother talking about. But we are trading okay with yellow as we just ram our armies at each other at the front line, going alright. They do though have a very large army that has appeared now, so things are going to get a bit more serious. I was surprised at how they even have this many troops all of a sudden, but I suppose they were all just hiding out of our line of sight. We have terrible scouting in this area, so now we have to make the decision, do we just run away according to our doctrine? Well, after thinking about it, I decided no, this time I'm going to challenge them. I'm going to try and mass my own big stack from all of our various things in this area and seek decisive battle with yellow on that front to just be done with it. Well, we'll see how that goes. We're going to be doing a lot of seeking, let me tell you. Here's a battle at the other end of the map. You might recall I had an army besieged inside Red's capital, hoping to face their big block there from inside the castle to gain some kind of advantage. Looks like they're throwing devils at us. Luckily we have a few guys on bodyguard duty at the back who take them down. Our troops didn't advance as quickly as I would have liked them to. They might be on hold and attack mode or something, so we didn't really choke point them in the wall, but we have done a little bit. The enemy have tons of horse archers, but they appear to be just happily shooting over the wall. Maybe some of the shots are hitting the wall. I don't know if the physics are actually accurately simulated because the particle trails at least go straight through the wall. Maybe they don't block ranged attacks. And lots of my troops are just routing as the fight goes on, so that's not ideal. This was the fight I was looking for, I guess, though. We're going to sit here, both just hacking at each other in the gateway. Looks like the enemy have run out of ammo on their horse archers. So, can they kill all of us? The answer to that question is yes, as it turns out, to just skip to the end of that long battle. We took down about half of them, but lost most of our army and most of our stuff in this part of the war, so we don't have our big raiding force to harass the enemy capital anymore. It's going to take an extremely long time to re-recruit an army of that caliber, since the Meteorite Guards and Ithilid Squid troops take ages to recruit and can't be recruited in most locations. So, we need to now be on the defensive in this area as I originally planned and just hope they don't kill us. That always works out so far, so no worries there. Big red stacks elsewhere to deal with though. You can see I was trying to advance on this bit of coast, but with so many enemies nearby, we're probably going to have to rethink that. Essentially, all of the troops in this area will fall back, since we just lost an army. This is a good time to be more cautious and more runny away, and that's going to work out just fine. Here's the army I'm massing against yellow. It's mostly just a wave of sea trolls. The province I was massing in did get attacked by a small enemy force, but of course they now discover our huge army here and get taken downtown. This means though that their big enemy force didn't attack like I thought they might. In fact, it's still just standing around where it was before. So we end up with this situation. I've managed to mass some troops together, and it's a standoff. The enemy aren't attacking me. However, they also doubled in size over the last turn or two. They've got about 1,000 troops standing there. I'm here trying to work out how many troops I have. When you defend a province, it actually tells you at the top how many troops your army has in it. When you're besieging an enemy province though, it doesn't tell you, and you have to actually do some maths, which of course we're not willing to do. I was surprised though at how much stuff yellow have. They have that stack of 1,000, another small army next to it, and a half-size stack on the other side of their territory. They don't have that many regions. We're like 1 billion times larger than them, but perhaps they can summon cheap units or something, I don't know. There are still loads of them, and we are going to make the decision. We're going to abandon our frontline position. I'm actually besieging there a Throne of Ascension, a particularly important place to take. But it's not worth losing our army over, because it would be very hard to get it back. So we'll just get out of there, but I strategically left behind one of my armies with a few units in it, just so the siege keeps going if yellow doesn't advance into that tile this turn. and if they do, well, it's only a small sacrifice to make, so I am still gambling on it a little bit. And to some extent that gamble pays off. I should have gambled even more, because as we can see in the next turn, the Yellow Army has walked off entirely, so they're now moving more towards the left-hand side of their territory and splitting up their big stack. If I'd just stayed where I was, I might have been able to be attacking that Throne of Ascension castle this turn. We can, though, attack other castles this turn. We have sieges going all over the place, where they're nice, comfy sieges. The enemy's stacks are too far away to stop me, so we have the time to sit there, open up the walls, and get in. These minor castles tend to not be that defended, so our stacks are virtually guaranteed to take them. We're cheekily making all this progress despite any sacrifices I make on our front lines. The back line progress carries on apace. There's a massive army from Red that's currently trying to reconquer stuff on our western coast. I say trying, succeeding to reconquer stuff. Nothing we can do about that obviously, but they might stop. We can always hold out hope. We've also been attacked by this abomination, some sort of randomly spawning thing. I'm not sure if this is caused by unrest or something. You do occasionally randomly have to fight independent armies. This one was just a bit interesting. A blob appeared. Fortunately, our blob of trash was able to take it down, so nothing too bad happened there. We still haven't got our battle with Yellow, but I'm now going to go for this smaller battle. They've got their army split into a couple of pieces here. I'm going to step out and attack the smaller piece. The risk there is that the bigger piece will also be stepping into the same province at the same time and will actually fight everything at once. Not quite so advantageous. We've got more stuff to do against Yellow though. We're attacking quite heavily on the other side. We've got 3 armies coming in, 2 attacking this turn. So that's going to distract them at the very least, or if it doesn't, it's going to take some of their territory. In the middle of the map, I'm going to stop pressuring Red for now because Green is becoming an increasing threat. They've got a big army on our northern border there, northern border of our spit of land. So we're going to start going in that direction. Here's an attack by Red further down our western coast, where I have this horse archer based army. There was one tile that could recruit horse archers, and it's been doing so for a while. So we actually hold them off with some skirmishing attacks right here. These horse archers are supposedly on the fire and keep your distance stance. The problem is they don't appear to keep their distance very well or at all. Maybe they're not on that stance and I'm lying, but I'm pretty sure I put them on that stance, same with all of the squids. Well, the battle is a little bit messy. Looks like one of our wings gets defeated and then somewhere the enemy retreats. And we get away with holding off this enemy attack. Fortunately, not a very big enemy attack. Here's a large battle on our side. This is me going after that yellow stack. And indeed, the nearby yellow troops did not come in to join. So I got the battle I was looking for, fighting just a portion of their army. Our massive wave of trolls just runs forward and does the business. Did take a few casualties, but the enemy took far more. So that's the sort of thing we like to see. We've made a good trade that slightly evened the odds, probably in that area. As for what their big stack did do, this result reveals they sent it to their east to break my siege of their territory with the Throne of Ascension in it. That means they're still going to be standing right next to my main force. There's a little look at the red setup at the moment. They're just all over the place with big stacks that we can't contest. And there's the big yellow stack. This is a risky situation because our stack is now surrounded on many sides by enemy armies. If they converged on us, we'd be in enormous trouble. Still no idea how yellow even has so much strength in the area. We're also now going to be gearing up against green. They sent armies to actually attack us, so we've got a couple of provinces that ended up under siege on account of green's attacks. We don't have that much in the area, but we can start spamming out good troops. We're getting richer because of our recent conquests, so we can afford to start spamming on another front and try to build up a good army there. Against yellow, we're going to do this move. Moving to the south would be safer. That would guarantee that we avoid combat. Moving to the east, though, is more strategic. It puts us closer to our sea tile where we have more troops stationed, so we'll be in a better position to reinforce, although the enemy could attack us. They also could attack the sea tile and just take it. That's why I was checking out the global blessings, thinking, I wonder if anyone ever redid that go into the sea blessing, because that would suck right now. And yes, yellow have actually put it back on. We need some sort of enormous pop-up saying, alert, global enchantments happened. It's probably there in the big list of results after every turn that I only skim read. So I no doubt missed out on some useful information, but I looked it up just in time to make sure that they can't go down and attack the sea. We just put tons of gems into it, so we're pretty much guaranteed to get that dispel, and indeed we do. here's us trying to clear out one of those green sieges, our first major engagement with green in a long time. Our two blobs run at each other. They've got tons of lizards, we've got tons of amphibian frog lizards. We're very similar, but our guys have metal attached to them, and that proves to be the deciding factor. Our blob is able to prevail and push them away. We've got some more work to do, but green shouldn't be too much of a threat overall, just because they don't have the gigantic stacks that yellow and red somehow seem to have. Yellow's main stack actually moved to the west. Potentially, they're trying to react to the fact I'm attacking them all over the place in the west, which is perfect. That takes the pressure off in the east, and if they do start moving further to the west, then they'll just get attacked substantially in the east. Instead, we've got them in a strategic bind up against red. I've rebuilt my army near their capital. We still somehow have the territory right next to their capital. They never took it back. So we're just going to do this raid again and provide another distraction for red that might save my western coast, currently under a lot of pressure. We're doing some more classic running away on the other side of yellow's territory, but here my running away plan revealed something. Those little blue dots in between provinces mean you have to cross water to get between them, and I'd never encountered this before, but some units actually can't cross rivers. I think it might be during summer or something. The rivers are supposed to be flooded and land units can't cross them. I suppose because we have so many amphibious units, I've managed to not ever encounter this problem before. But there it was, so something new is discovered. Good to know, because the enemy can't cross the river in many cases. I could have been using that knowledge to my advantage before, but of course this is the no knowledge challenge run after all. Going into the next turn, red have a heavy presence here on the coast. Looks like they've taken a couple of minor territories from me, and they could take some more. My god is there somewhere, so a dangerous situation if they can get into the sea. My main reaction is to carry on distracting them. I've built up an army on either side of their throne of Ascension here, and we're just going to go for it. Plus, we have our distraction up at their capital. Because they have so many troops, this distraction isn't that effective though. They've already got an army there that could defeat me, and I'm going to run away. So it's hard to distract the enemy unless they send everything back. We need them to really misjudge how much they'll need to get their capital again. Here I discovered at my capital we have a building called the Void Gate, which says you can summon void monsters from it or something. Didn't look any more into that. Here's me clicking on the alchemy button. This is a system where you can convert certain kinds of gems to other kinds of gems, although at a poor trade you lose gems in the process effectively. That will come in useful alongside this discovery. I noticed that some of my mages aren't just water mages. A couple of them have the hammer magic, earth magic I guess. This allows them to convert your earth gems into money, which is much more useful to me than earth gems that I can't really do much with at the moment. So I found a few of the guys who can do this spell and started converting them. Combined with that alchemy thing I just mentioned, I could use that to gradually convert all of my other gems into money as well, and just be really rich, which will help us because we can use the money to make temples and forts everywhere. Making units isn't so much of a problem. With units it's more recruitment capacity than money at the moment, and the fact most of our frontline locations can't recruit anything good. Here we are attacking that Throne of Ascension location from red. We've been here before many episodes ago. This time we storm the enemy off the field and immediately start besieging the castle. That's all good. Here's the situation down with yellow. Again, no decisive engagement, we're still just facing off against each other, which is perfect for me because I've actually captured their Throne of Ascension by taking that castle underneath my stack. So things are going quite well. We've just got 2 more Throne of Ascension regions in the bag. We can't do anything at all with that, but it does stop the enemy from doing anything with it since we control it. Against green, not too much is happening simply because I don't have that many units over here, but I've massed a decent-ish army that I'm going to try and attack some of these unfortified regions with. I've also got an army currently besieging the nearest castle to our Throne of Ascension. That castle was opened up and here's me making the attack in the next turn. The problem I have here is that the army I'm using is pure trash, hybrids for the most part, the units that we can recruit on land instead of our regular meteorite guards, a half-human unit that just isn't very good. And in this battle we perform very poorly. We fight for a bit and then run. The enemy had some ice drakes in the choke point that were just mowing us down, and that was the end of that. At least the loss of hybrids doesn't matter too much. Essentially I just started making another army of the same trash units to try again later. With yellow, some of their stuff has moved from the front line, but there's still so much of it here that I don't really want to risk an engagement. I'm happy to just kind of sit around and maybe fight a defensive battle, maybe somehow draw them into the sea, while I'm still attacking them on the other side and making progress. Not quite sure how yellow can even afford their armies at this stage. We're really hacking them down, it's just not doing all that much. I still actually have that siege going, the one that I just failed due to a priest showing up. We're going to abandon it and come back to it later as mentioned. So as we try to once again steal a little bit more of yellow's territory, another thing I should note is black, Agartha, the guys at the top left of the screen. They actually have substantial armies up there. However, I'm strategically ignoring them for two reasons. If I try and fight them, they might try and fight me, and so far we've got a good thing going where we just appear to be ignoring each other, and that's going pretty well. Plus, they are running out of dominion. Because we control all of the territory around them, we can surround them with temples and just make it so that eventually we'll out-dominion them. They can't build enough temples to preach harder than we can. So at this stage already, I think, their days are numbered. If they don't do anything, they'll eventually just be kicked out of the game due to our local religious power being too high. We'll eventually spread into their territory, and if a god has no provinces with their dominion, they just disappear and their faction gets deleted. There's some good news from our West Coast war with Red. Red's walked off again. It just keeps happening. While they were there a couple of turns ago ready to kill us, they're going off somewhere else, perhaps distracted by our various distractions. And all I need to do is have our few units hiding behind the front lines pop forward and once again recapture those territories nice and easy. Now here's a great development in the next turn. Yellow has sent tons of stuff up there, several turns of movement away from where it needs to be. Suddenly we have an opportunity to fight much less of their army to capture their core. Their capital is in the bottom left, and I've got my stack only 2 turns away. They can't catch up. So we can at least capture the outside of the castle before they can really react, or react in a substantial way with most of their stuff. We'll start making that move. We're also going to move against the capital from the other direction with this stack, although I'm having some trouble as well, because this big stack has in it somewhere some disgusting humans who want to go via a route that goes through another enemy territory that is adjacent to a big enemy stack, which is more risky. So we have to tell the humans to get out like we should have done from the very beginning, and go with just our amphibious units, which handily is almost all of them, so that's not too much of a loss. With this, the enemy capital will be in big trouble, and yellow will have even less territory in the very near future. And speaking of capitals, I've also taken red's capital again. This was an uneventful campaign because they weren't there when I came to besiege the place, and I got in before they showed up to do anything about it. They're probably hoping to do something about it now, which is why their massive armies have gone off the front line and will gradually move up through their territory towards me. Perfect, because that's just more turns where they're not doing anything in particular, not killing us, and should buy us enough time to reverse the damage they did to us in their most recent killing of us session. Against green, things are more stalematy just because we lack troops, and the troops we do have tend to be terrible as well. We've got loads of on-land recruited units that aren't very good. Need to consolidate as much as possible and be really risk-averse here, because one military defeat could allow green to actually do something against us in this area. But we do have it all on lockdown. It's not like they have any advantage against us, so it's just slow progress, certainly not back progress, which is nice. And with this fairly optimistic scenario, we shall leave this part for now. There's certainly going to be another part, with the main objective to finish off yellow, with the kind of side objective to try and do it without really having to fight their army. I don't know if the army disappears if they run out of money or something, perhaps not. Well, we'll see what we can do. I also hope to defeat black without fighting them, and just generally still be annoying against red and green until those side projects are done. Because if we eventually bring our full strength to bear on the north end of the land portion of the map, that will be guaranteed victory, and we might even be in a position to actually have enough thrones now to win the campaign. It's just that I can't claim them. Need to actually go through and count that at some point. We're certainly closer than we've been ever before. We've got at least like 5 thrones. Well anyway, I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching this OVD gameplay commentary. Check out the playlists on my channel for more.